Okay, hello, good morning. So today and on Friday we'll look at Fodor's causal asymmetry theory, and then on Monday we'll sweep triumphantly on to Wittgenstein on following a rule, a different part of the forest. Today, what I really want to do today is just to set out what Fodor is doing here. There's a general problem, he calls it his junction problem, that you will probably recognize from the Dretschke, and then his causal asymmetry theory, which I'll state then next, is his solution to that disjunction problem. Then we'll do a little bit of a workout, a very simple workout on the causal asymmetry theory. And then I want to look at, there's something puzzling about what the general problem is here, and I'll try and indicate that at the end. And then on Friday we'll move on to a blistering critique of Dretschke and Fodor. But today all I really want to do is set out what the idea is. The general problem, and I've been saying this right since the first lecture, is there are standards of right and wrong for sentences. We want to be able to say there are standards of right and wrong for sentences in virtue of something or other, and then whatever that something or other is going to be something from the natural sciences. I mean, the whole world is a natural world, and the whole world is describable by the natural sciences. So since there is language, since there is thinking in a natural world, since language and thought have standards of right and wrong for them, we have to be able to explain how that can have happened. How come in a natural world there are standards of right and wrong? And what Dretschke is trying to do with his talk about biological functions and so on is to explain how that can have happened. I mean, even if you just look at this general form of the problem, it's kind of obvious that it's going to be really difficult to get a convincing solution, because in terms of some of you then will recognize this is a problem about deriving an ought from an is, about deriving remarks about what right and wrong consist in, how you ought to think or talk from statements about what in fact is the case. And it's notoriously difficult to do that, but we have to look at the details. So the general structure of the answer that we were working towards all the time is something like, the sign x refers to x's in virtue of the fact that the use of the sign x is typically caused by x's. Yes? Gödel refers to Gödel in virtue of the fact that the sign Gödel was caused by Gödel. Yes? Water refers to water in virtue of the fact that the use of the sign water were typically caused by water. In these terms, the disjunction problem is this. Suppose that x's cause the use of the sign x to be, cause the use of the sign x. Suppose that y's cause the use of the sign x. Well, take anything you like that produces an illusion of xness. Take any ringer for x, anything that might cause you to falsely say x. Then that's any time an x is produced wrongly, there's some y that was causing it. But if it's x is causing x to be produced that makes x refer to x, then anything that's wrongly causing the production of the sign x should also be something that the sign x refers to. Let me go with this. The puzzle is, there are going to be some things that cause you to produce the sign x rightly, namely the x's. There are going to be some things that cause you to produce the sign x wrongly. Let's call them y's. Why do we say that the sign x refers to x's rather than to the y's? How can we distinguish the causal connections that are fixing the reference of x from the causes of the production of x that don't fix the reference of x and in fact are produced by things that x doesn't refer to? That's the general structure of the problem. And the basic constraint on a solution is we have to explain that in naturalistic terms. We're not going to presuppose anything from outside the natural sciences. So we're getting a distinction between two types of causation, one that matters for the fixing of reference, and we've got to understand why that kind of causation should matter for setting standards of rightness and wrongness. So we really need an example here. That's a bit abstract. So here's Fodor giving an example. I see a cow, which, stupidly, I misidentify. So this is what it's like when you're out for a walk in the country with a philosopher. You see a cow, the philosopher takes it to be a horse, and then says, horse. I mean, it's really different when you're going out and about with Fodor and when you're going out and about with Oscar Wilde. But anyway, that's the kind of dialogue, right? He's looking right at the cow, and he says, horse. So Fodor's a city boy. So how come your utterance of horse means horse? Well, because of a causal connection between horses and uses of the word horse, right? That was a lesson of all that stuff about water and twin earth and all that. Yeah. The reason your word horse refers to horses is that horses are the things around here that cause the use of that word. But then, if cows can produce utterances of the word horse too, then why don't you say that the word horse actually refers to cows too? And that Fodor got it right there. What we just learned from that example was that you can be making a mistake. Something that's not a horse can be causing you to use the word horse. And since there are some these causal relations between use of the word horse and cows, why not say the word horse refers to cows too? If the causal relations are the same, and if causation makes representation, well, how can the semantic connections not be the same too? That's a very simple example, but it's obviously quite general. Because any time you make a mistake, there's going to be something or other that caused you to make that mistake. Why not say that causal connection means that you're referring to that thing? So just put it abstractly, you've got two kinds of causal connection, from horses to the use of the word horse, and from cows to the use of the word horse. And we say the causal connection on the left means that the word horse is referring to horses. The causal connection on the right does not mean that the word horse is referring to cows. Why is that? They're both causal connections. What's so special about this one on the left? How come that one generates reference and the one on the right doesn't? That's the disjunction problem. And we've got to explain in naturalistic terms, in terms of the natural sciences, why there's that asymmetry, why there's that difference between two kinds of causal connection. And ultimately, we want to understand, get some explanation of why it is that this kind of causal connection is generating standards of rightness and wrongness. So that's a very simple example, that cows horses thing, but obviously I think the problem is really general. And until you address it, then a causal theory can't explain the distinction between rightness and wrongness. Okay? Are you comfortable with that? That's what the disjunction problem is? Yeah. And you see, it's really a very general form of the kind of problem that Dretschke was concerned with when he was saying how come the Vignettisome is representing this magnitude rather than that magnitude. Okay, are we all on board? Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is the problem. Explain the difference between the causal link on the left and the causal link on the right. Here comes Fodor's answer. if horses didn't cause the word horse to be produced, then cows would not cause the word horse to be produced. I mean, presumably, if horses didn't cause the word horse to be produced, it's really a bit early for this kind of thing. I really do sympathise with that. But anyway, if horses didn't cause the word horse to be produced, well, why would that be? I mean, presumably that would be the word just meant something altogether different, something like that. Yeah, that could only be what was going on. So then, I mean, if horses meant were named for some bit of engineering machinery or car components or something, then cows wouldn't cause the word horse to be produced. Yep, that's pretty plausible. If horses didn't cause the word horse to be produced, then cows would not cause the word horse to be produced. But even if cows didn't cause the word horse to be produced, suppose the cows didn't cause the word horse to be produced. That would, I mean, presumably, if all the city guys were sent to some agricultural training college and given some kind of animal awareness, elevating your levels of animal awareness, so that everybody got much better at distinguishing the two species, then cows wouldn't cause the word horse anymore. Right? Everybody just got better at telling the difference between cows and horses. You can imagine that. Yes. Now if that happened, if everybody just got better at spotting the cows are non-horses, then would horses still cause the word horse to be produced? Yes. You just got better, right? So even if cows didn't cause the word horse to be produced, horses would still cause the word horse to be produced. So there's a difference between the two causal relations. Suppose that the one on the left vanished, would the one on the right vanish? Yes, that's what we just agreed to. If the one on the left vanished, the one on the right would vanish. Yes? But if the one on the right vanished, would the one on the left vanish? Aha. So they're different. Yes? That was easy. Right. So Fodor puts that by saying the connection between cows and the word horse is asymmetrically dependent on the causal connection between horses and the word horse. That's to say, I mean, it's not very technical. The one on the one on the right depends on the one on the left, because if the one on the left went, the one on the right would go. Yes? But the one on the left doesn't depend on the one on the right, because if the one on the right went, the one on the left would be just fine. So the one of the cow's horse connection is parasitic on the horse's horse connection. The cow's horse connection is only coming in because cows look kind of like horses. The one on the right is kind of piggybacking on the one on the left. So if this one got thrown off, the one on the left would still be there. But because this one is piggybacking on this one, if you took this one away, then that one would go. Yep. That's why we say this one is the one that matters for reference. That's the theory. The causal connection between cows and the word horse is asymmetrically dependent on the causal connection between horses and the word horse. Is it perfectly clear what that means anyway? Yeah, what he's saying, why holds an asymmetric causal dependence? Yep. Okay. So if there's an asymmetric dependence between horses cause X and cows cause X, well, if one of these is asymmetrically dependent on the other, the dependent position is the one that's causing the mistakes. The non-dependent position is the one that generates reference. This is a little bit abstract, but it's very, very simple. So if everything got perfectly clear, then stop me. Yep. Sure, yeah. Right. If zebras cause the word horse, then okay, so suppose you did, right? So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you put a zebra in front of Fodor and you said horse, right? I mean, you're just not very good at that kind of thing. I mean, no disrespect, but yeah. Okay, so okay, but what of it? Oh, okay, there are two things here. One is that zebras are causing use of the word horse, and the other is that horses are not causing use of the word horse. Yeah. Okay. Well, suppose we have that scenario. Okay, so suppose we have. So what we've got up here is zebras, right? Well, then, and suppose we have the asymmetric dependence like this. Then the word horse would be referring to zebras. That's the theory. I mean, the idea is, it wouldn't make sense to say that, and it wouldn't make sense right now to say that all of us have been mistaken the whole time about which things are horses. It's actually the zebras that are horses. Well, it's even hard to state this, but it couldn't be right to say that what's been causing us to use the word horse all the time is actually something to which the word doesn't apply. It was actually the spiky things that we were referring to, even though they never ever caused anyone to use the word horse. That makes no sense. That's the idea. So when you consider a situation in which the independent position, the position that doesn't depend on anything else, is between zebras and the word horse, then you're considering a situation in which the word horse refers to those zebras. One, two. Zebras and cows look a little bit alike. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Oh, I see. Was that your point? Yeah, I missed that. Okay, right. Okay. Right. So if you install, I see. Okay. Since cows look, let's suppose, since cows look like horses and cows look like zebras, yeah. If the reason this causal connection went was you could put zebras in there, yeah, then you still have that. So you have this one going, but that one staying. So this is not dependent on that one. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Okay, I didn't get that in the first line. Okay, that's really important. The question is, will you consider? Is it all right if I call that counterfactual? Put your hand up here if that's not a problem if I call that counterfactual. Okay, some but not all. Okay. Well, I just mean something that says something about what would have happened. Actually, we've been through all this possible world stuff. What's going on in some other possible world, right? So we're talking about a possible world in which cows don't cause horse to be produced. Yeah, and we're talking about what goes on in that world. Yeah, and the question you guys are raising is which world are we talking about? Yeah, and in general, there's always that issue with counterfactuals. I just give you these standard examples from the literature. If Bill comes, it'll be a great party. Yeah, if Bill comes and the carpet catches fire, it'll be a great party. Yeah, it doesn't. Right, it's not always clear exactly which world you're talking about. That's what politicians really mean when they say, well, suppose Iraq had words of mass destruction. What then you say, well, I'm not going to answer that because I don't really know exactly which possible world you're talking about. Is what they mean. Yeah. When we're talking about cows not causing the wild horse to be produced, I don't mean because you substituted zebras. It's like I don't mean and the carpet catches fire. Yeah. But then there really is a question: how are we going to specify which world exactly we have in mind? Yeah. I mean, the simplest. Okay. The simplest way to get the effect you want would be to suppose no, the zebras are causing horse to be produced, but suppose it happened that cows started causing horse to be produced in a non-dependent way. Yeah, suppose the word, intuitively suppose the word just came to mean cows, then cows would still be causing no use of the word horse. Yep. I know that everything that's being said here is very simple, but I realise there's an air of rigmarole to it, so pause me if any of this is not making sense. Oh, here's another question. Yeah. How did horses cause us to call horses horses? It wasn't the horse. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not as if there was some kind of formal introduction where we said to the horse, "We are humans. What are you?" But that's what you mean. It's not as if it kind of manipulated us into it. Yeah, that's right. That's another question about exactly what the kind of causation here is. It's not that they formally introduced themselves. It's that we said, "Look at them. We better give them a name." Yeah. What are we going to call them? So we were responding to their presence, and we said we better give them some name or other, and we used and then we whipped up the word horse. Why it was horse we produced, it was a further issue. Yeah, why was that sound rather than any other? But we had to be, given all these things milling around out there, that caused us to think, let's get a name for that. Yeah, and then as time goes on, what you do with that term is causally responsive to what they're all doing. Yeah, if you say they need to be fed 3 regular meals a day and no baked beans or whatever you say, using the word horse, right? They're the ones that are making you do that. Is that addressing the question?
Yeah, so the initial baptism.
Yeah, you can think of it in terms of the initial baptism, or you can think of it in terms of the ongoing dominant source of your uses of the sign. Yeah. So these same issues we talked about with Cookie and Evans can have here. But it's causation either way. Okay, so much for the causal asymmetry theory. So the causal connection between cows and horse is asymmetrically dependent on the causal connection between horses and the word horse. And these questions that people were raising, I said you can put that in terms of possible worlds. So the unnatural way to put it is to say, you remember our little blue friends? Yeah. So if this is us in the actual world, and in the actual world, horses cause the use of the word horse, then what that counterfactual, what that statement, if horse didn't cause horse anymore, what that's talking about is the nearest worlds in which horses don't cause horse anymore. Yeah, so you know that some possible worlds are very close and some are very far away. How about that? Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, maybe not. I'm not really sure. It depends on exactly what the phonological constraints are on the generation of words. I mean, there are lots of words. It doesn't. That's right. So I think this is the right framework to address that question. And there are lots of words missing in English, right? So you can say, let's see, you can say pan, pen, pin, pawn, pun, right? So they're all words except pawn. P-O-N doesn't mean anything, right? There's kind of a missing word. Or tin, tan, ten, tin, tongue, T-U-N. There's no such word as T-U-N. Why not? So there's kind of missing words. Yeah. So if horse went, it would probably be just a missing word like that, right? If we're saying, I mean, the idea that some possible worlds are very close and some are very far away is very intuitive. Yes. You can say to me something like, well, that's a very remote possibility. Yeah, I say, suppose some madman comes running in. We should barricade the door. Suppose some madman comes running in here with a hatchet, and you say, well, the contingency is very remote, right? What you mean is, well, it's a possible world which happens, all right, but it's very far away. Yeah, so let's not bother barricading the doors. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's how we think. So when we say, what's the nearest world in which horses don't cause horse? Well, I guess that's because we're using a different sign or for them or something like that. Yeah. Sorry, or we don't use horse at all. Yeah. So the nearest world in which that happens, the minimal adjustment you have to make to this world to get that effect is one where it's simply not being caused by anything. Yeah. So not zebras, not kangaroos, not anything. Yeah. So that here we're talking about this world here, whereas the zebra's world is presumably a little bit further out. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's the idea. Anyway. So the nearest world in which horses don't cause horse, that's some subset of the nearby worlds we're talking about. Yeah. And in those, cows don't cause horse either. But the nearest worlds in which cows don't cause horse, they're the worlds in which we've all had our agricultural awareness heightened. And so in those worlds, which are a different set of worlds in which cows don't cause horse anymore, in those worlds, horses still cause the use of the word horse. Okay, there we go. There's asymmetric dependence theory. I think it's fair to say that's really forward point. There's something else. There's not, you see, I think it's a relatively simple theory. I think the exposition is baroque. I mean, but it's a great theory. I mean, it's very simple, it's very general, it's very austere in what it's appealing to. But yeah, the exposition is not so good.